Hello there and welcome back to my Summer of Sketches series. I am finally using up some stickers, laser cuts, pattern papers, and scraps from the Turtley Sweet workshop kit. I'm documenting 15 photos. They are from an annual trip my husband James and his high school friends, and of course all of our families, have been taking together for 20 years. Let's dive in. Let's turn these leftovers into a fun and meaningful layout. For this project, I am working with this sketch right here. It was designed by Lori Anderson, and I found it in a Creating Keepsakes magazine from November of 2009. If you are new here, I started a Summer of Sketches series at the beginning of the season, and this was where I picked sketches from this binder that I've been holding on to for years. And I pick a sketch and I recreate it. So sometimes I use this sketch as like a jumping off point. Sometimes I adapt it to fit my style more, or I follow just certain elements within the sketch, like photo placement. But either way, my layouts never look exactly like the sketch. What caught my attention in this layout was all the pictures running across the bottom. And I liked that there was a picture here that was cut, and I liked that idea. I do not have a 5x7 picture. I'm working with 4x6 and smaller. I'm going to take that idea and bring it elsewhere onto the layout. I'm going to kind of get myself situated and I'll be right back. These are the leftover embellishments I'm planning on using on this layout. This title for sure, and maybe one turtle might make an appearance. I've got 2 sheets of this DSP left, plus a few strips of this one. I wish I could buy more of just this sheet. I'm so sad I only have scraps left. For my base, I'm starting with 2 sheets of white willow cardstock. The sketch I'm working from has 2 paper strips running across both pages. One at the top and one at the bottom. And since I only have these leftover strips of the striped paper, they are about 1/2 inch tall and they're perfect for the bottom. Before trimming the top strip, I'm just going to set it in place, so we can get a visual. I'm changing up the sketch a bit and adding more photos. I did plan out my print sizes ahead of time, and along the bottom row I have a mix of 4x3s and 3x3 shots. Several feature our little buddy in a red shirt, so I'm spacing those out to spread that pop of color evenly across the layout. Aside from paper placement, this is really the only element I'm keeping the same as the original sketch. Next are 2 stacked 4x3 landscape photos printed together on one single 4x6 sheet. I'm keeping them just like that. Then there's a 6x4 of us soaking up the sun at Silver Beach. This was a great spot. While we were there, a few forest fires were burning nearby. The smoke was so thick you could barely see the mountains. See, just faint tops peeking through the haze. It wasn't like, it didn't smell smoky, but it gave everything this kind of muted, almost surreal look. I've got 2 true 4x6 photos to tuck into a flip-flap, plus another of our buddy in the red shirt that measures 4x3. Here's another 4x3. And a 4x5 1/4 group shot. These pictures are from 2 different days, but the moments feel similar enough that they'll work together. So let's separate the similar shots and spread them out in a more balanced way. That's better. I still think it needs a few tweaks, but we're getting there. This trip was a quick 4-day weekend with the group, and I didn't want to make a separate layout for each day. I think I've got an idea for the top strip size. So I'll go ahead and trim 2 strips of the polka dot pattern paper down to 2.5 inches by 12. For now, I'm placing the title in the upper left corner where there's a nice open spot. I'm still not completely happy about the photo placement. So I'm going to switch these 2 around and maybe bump this one over. Yep, that's better. In the sketch, the focal photo is cut, which wasn't exactly going to work for me, but I liked the idea. You know, I used to cut my photos on the layouts all the time. And this one here, I think would be perfect for that. No one's getting sliced in half. There's space between my friends in the shot. So you know what? Let's go for it. Before I make the cut though, I'm noticing a lot of white space here. I do love white on my layouts. I think it needs a little extra color. My title is in Pool Party and Real Red, or it could be Poppy Parade. I'm going to try adding some Pool Party cardstock, maybe about 6 inches behind the photo clusters. I'm just going to audition this full sheet before trimming it down. And with the magic of YouTube, you didn't have to watch me wrestle with lining everything up perfectly. Now, I like the Pool Party, but let's try another option. This is Balmy Blue. It's not an exact match, but I think it blends nicely with the collection. It works really well with my photos. I see that shade in a lot of the places here, like the water in this picture and the blue on the paddleboard. So let's put them side by side for comparison. Yep, Balmy Blue wins. I'll go ahead and cut this sheet in half so I have 6 inches for both sides. I'm excited to use more of the ephemera from this kit. Most of these were stickers, but I removed the sticky backing using my anti-static pouch beforehand. There's a beach ball, a sandcastle, a sentiment that reads, "Swimming through summer," and yes, a turtle. I think this little guy is kind of cute, and since I'm documenting photos with kids, I can comfortably include a turtle on this layout. I'm placing him here, then I'll add a few more stickers around the page, like this sticker that says "Too Cute," which I can point to this photo. The beach ball can tuck in down here, and maybe the sandcastle with the turtle. By layering over the turtle, it blends more naturally into the layout. Let's move him over to this side, nestled in this spot to cover some of like the bags and coolers in the photo. Now I have the start of a visual triangle. I've got one here, then in the lower right corner, and another in the upper right. I also have these tabs, but I'm not sure yet where they're going to go. I like to add transition pieces, sometimes to cover where 2 layers meet. Tying in the red from the title and the photos, I cut 4 very thin 1/8 of an inch strips of real red solid core cardstock to place along the top and the bottom of the blue cardstock. You know, I think I like this. Now that everything's in place, I'm going to take it all apart so I can ink distress the edges with black ink. I think I was just so excited to use the ephemera that I got ahead of myself. I chose black because there's already a lot of black in the photos and will help tie everything together. I'm not adding ink to the center of the layers, which keeps the look of a continuous 12 by 24 spread. I really like the red cardstock transition pieces. But I'm curious to see how it looks if I shift them down to cover the top edge of the striped paper instead. These two different tones of red, the little too cute sign and the red cardstock, weren't working together as well as maybe I had hoped. So I cut another 1/8 inch strip, this time from the polka dot pattern paper, to replace it. This adds more pattern to the layout and gives the illusion that the polka dot paper extends further down the layout. Moving the red cardstock to the bottom of the page also helps ground the overall design. The photo arrangement still isn't working for me. I really love this group shot. It is all of us. Well, the grown-ups anyway. Every night we sat outside on the huge covered deck. There was plenty of seating for everyone. And on this night, we gathered around the fire table. I definitely want to keep the photo, but the original size just isn't fitting. I reprinted it at 4x3. Still large enough to see all of the details, but now it fits much better on the layout. I'll still place the third embellishment cluster here, and already the page feels less crowded and more balanced. My only real white space will be behind the long column of photos at the bottom of the layout. I print my pictures with a white border, and I thought about trimming them off since there's already, white cardstock behind, but then that thought left just as quickly as it came. Too much work. And honestly, you can't barely see the white frames anyway. To carry that white to the top of the layout, I'm bringing in the Spotlight of Nature dies. I cut a decorative circle from white cardstock to place in my third cluster. Then I did a little stash diving, looking for yellow pattern paper with, a simple print. I found a yellow and white chevron pattern. I cut that into a tag shape with a die from my stash, and I'll tuck that behind the turtle and the photo. Now, if you had more of the yellow polka dot DSP from the kit, you could definitely use that instead. I still have those tabs floating around causing me grief. And I'm still not sure where to put them. I pulled out a close to my heart stamp set called Beach Life. I liked this one for the pail and the shells, and I stamped them on white cardstock with black ink, and I colored them in with Stampin' Right markers in coordinating colors. And I'll place the pail with our turtle friend and the shells around the other clusters. Then I hit a creative block. I wasn't sure what else to add. I pulled out a sticker from my stash, and even though there aren't flowers in the photos, the colors match perfectly. It's summertime, and flowers make me think of summer, so I went with it. Thinking about what was happening in the pictures, I remembered we were enjoying breakfast mimosas. That's in one of the pictures, and it made me think of the Cheers and Sips collection, specifically the drink icons. Now, these larger ones feel too big for the space, but the smaller ones on this other DSP, they're going to work perfectly. The colors aren't an exact match, but they still look good. I fussy cut out a picture of a red drink and a glass of yellow liquid with a citrus garnish. And I like that. I don't feel the need to add drinks anywhere else. From the same sticker sheet in my stash that I got the flowers from, I grabbed a few little flowers in matching colors. I used a tab punch to cut a tab from the chevron paper so I could repeat that pattern from the left to the right. The Too Cute sticker is currently covering the view, or really the non-view of the mountains. I could move it to the bottom of the same photo, pointing upwards, or I could shift it over to the tab. I don't mind either option. When I started building this layout, flowers weren't even on my mind. I was thinking strictly beach-themed elements, but when I pulled out the flower stickers, I love how they look. And that surprised me. So the Everyday You and Me stamp bundle has flowers similar to the ones from the sticker sheet. So I decided to stamp some in the matching colors. I have Pool Party, Poppy Parade, Pretty in Pink, Flirty Flamingo, and Garden Green for the leaves. To protect my layout and give myself a smooth stamping surface, I'm using a foam mat with a scrap paper on top. Starting with the leaf stamp, I practiced a few times on the scrap, then I'll stamp a few onto white cardstock. I'm leaving enough space around each image for the coordinating die. These would be easy enough to cut out if you don't have the dies, but I do, so I'm going to use them. Next, I'll stamp a large and a small flower in Poppy Parade. I've already practiced off camera, so now I'm stamping a few in red, and then I'll finish the rest off camera before die cutting them all out. I ended up with a nice little pile of flowers to work with, and now I'm just going to tuck them in within my clusters, weaving them under and over the photos and other elements to add some extra dimension and color. While I'm doing that, a little about these photos. So this was summer 2023. The first time our whole group stayed together in one big house. Over the years, we've camped at sites, all across Alberta, British Columbia, Canada, and we've sometimes hosted at our own properties. Having everyone under one roof, though, was fantastic. We took turns cooking, spending evenings playing games, sharing stories, and just relaxing and catching up. These trips have been a tradition for decades. Our group has grown and changed as we all have had kids, and now again as those kids are grown up and moving out. Sadly, this year was the first time in 20 years we couldn't meet at our usual time. But we are planning a quick overnight reunion this fall. The tab punch I used is this one. I forgot to show you earlier in case you were curious. I love adding little verbal details to layouts. They add interest and help tell the story. I used the Celebrate Together stamp set to stamp holiday fun and memories in black ink directly onto the tag. Then I found 2 sentiment stickers, Oh Happy Day and Sunshine, from the sticker sheet. And for the tag's twine, I used what I think is strawberry slush color, though, I think it'll pass as Flirty Flamingo. I'm adding a bit more twine to the right side of the layout. I'm folding it in half once, then another, then 3 times, and I'll secure the fold with a glue dot to tuck it under the red flower over here. Before attaching the title, which is already popped up on dimensionals, I decided to add a few ink splatters behind it. I'm using the Elements of Text stamp set for this with Balmy blue ink. I want a few splatters coming out from like the H and the Y and around the B. And I think I'll put some near the tab on the right side too, plus, another spot for 3 points of interest. I just haven't decided where yet. Oh my, this ink is really juicy. Okay, placing it about here. Okay, this could go downhill fast. Let me grab a scrap piece of paper to protect my photo. There we go. Trying again. This technique is called controlled splatter. I'll be honest though, stamping directly onto a finished layout always makes me a little nervous, even when it's controlled. But it adds such a nice touch, and right here, love it. I'll finish the rest off camera, repeating the process in 2 other spots. Like I said, one by the tab and maybe another in the top cluster. For the finishing touches, I'm using the adhesive back dots for days. These are no longer available, but I'm using 3 of the 4 colors, yellow, pink, and blue. I'm placing them in groups of 3 around the clusters. I'm picking them up with the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool. You just give them a gentle push with the tip and they'll stick to the tool so you can move them right into position. While I'm adding these dots, I just want to thank you all for joining me today. Oh, and I haven't said it yet. My name is Nicole, and if you are new here, welcome, or welcome back. If you are enjoying seeing this layout come together, hit that thumbs up button. Such a small gesture, but it really helps me out here on YouTube. I'm finishing this layout with a flip flap for this photo. How it works, you slide your photo into the protective sleeve, fold the sticky tab over the top, and you're ready to go. In this one, I've attached the second photo and my journaling to the back of the top photo, upside down. So when you flip it up, the photo underneath is right side up. I like to attach mine directly to the page protector. Once the layout is in the album, peel the backing off. Careful, it's very sticky. And then you press it into place. Just make sure your layout is sitting all the way down to the bottom of the page protector first, because once it's stuck, it's stuck. So let's bring the layout up for a closer look. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I used up some of the ephemera from the kit, even snuck in a turtle, added some flowers for a soft touch, and brought back an old technique of cutting a photo in half. I've got plenty more fun projects coming. Definitely a few more sketches from the binder, and maybe I'll even carry this idea into the fall. Let me know in the comments, are you enjoying these videos? I only know if you tell me. Speaking of sketches, let's pop that one back on the screen for a quick peek. Mine is a little different. I squeezed in some extra photos and worked in a flip flap. I did keep the paper strips and the title in the same spot. I love how the clusters came together, mixing flowers with some beachy touches, even a turtle. It all just works. And that row of photos along the bottom, just like in the sketch. And yes, cutting a photo, totally inspired by this design. I hope I didn't sound too different. I am literally sitting in my car recording this voiceover. Noisy house, quiet car. You do what you gotta do. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd love it if you join this crafty community. I post new videos every Wednesday and sometimes sneak in an extra one on Fridays. For still shots of this layout and others, you can find me over on Instagram. And if you're enjoying this beach-inspired layout, here's a video here to watch next. Until next time, keep telling your stories one page at a time.